talking AGP, anti-gravity project. I respect, staying true to the tech. We got the evil address and the pink Miss Will. Got the dark matter token going up, I can tell. Hey, I can tell this is the start of something fresh. Shout out Hex Revision and Donna Hex, yes. I confess, Hexicans don't stress, cause as a community we one up. So tell me, are you in, or tell me, are you out? Do you want to win, or do you chase the clout? What is this really about? The treasury and lottery. If you meant dark tokens, you can get a part of it. So how does it work? Let me explain. First you buy the dark token, now you're in the game. Then you mint the dark and get a fuel cell. That's an NFT, one that earns yield. As long as you have it, it feels like magic. But if you vaporize the NFT, that's tragic. So most think crypto is a game. Are you here for the fame, or here to make a name? See, Hexicans reign, we create our own lane. I thought I told you, we the new financial gain. AGProject.io with the flow. And if you know what I know, then you know what I know. That's just how it go. Something like to support the team, the dream. Public service announcement, t.me/anti-gravity saga is the telegram. Tap in. It's for y'all. I'm talking AGP, anti-gravity project. I respect, staying true to the tech. We got the evil address and the pink Miss Will. Got the dark matter token going up, I can tell.
Hey kids, this is Pulse Ray Vision coming to you live from Quattro Cinco Studios in my mom's basement. I was just in the middle of reposting this, and I realized that the title doesn't make sense. In fact, I think I can edit here. I don't know if I really care enough to do that, but let's post this right here. Live on X, and then and YouTube. There we go. Boom. All right. So does your blank have its own universe? That's what it says. Like, it was supposed to say, does your token have its own universe? But yeah, we didn't. Let me, I can actually edit it right here. Does your token have its own universe? There we go. That one's saved for there, and then I think I can get it here under X as well. We'll see here. Yeah, does your token have its own universe? Save changes. There we go. We got some friends of the show in here. I've threw out a link to a bunch of homie OGs in different communities, people that have their own projects, their own websites, and invited them to come in. I don't expect many people to just happen to have time off or be sitting around their computer and not have something to do with their family or at home. So it's really kind of like a lottery if someone hits there. I'm also going to share the StreamYard link here as well. So okay, yeah, and something I've been waiting all day long for has just happened in Telegram, so we'll get into that too. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll copy that, put it in here, let you guys jump in. Anyone who wants to jump in can jump in the StreamYard there. I'll put it in X as well. There we go. And you can hear my chimes going off here. You can replace or tweak it. It's not working well. All right. So anyways, yeah, there's some stuff going on, some very interesting stuff going on in our universe here. Eddie Pulsican always liking and retweeting our stuff. Thanks, big shout out to him. And then, like I said, these are the two StreamYard links. We've got Mr. CryptoCat. Good evening. Here we have Tracy G in the place to be. So good to see you, Tracy. Yeah, a lot of these people, it's great when you have community members that you've met in real life. It changes the whole vibe of the community online. And most of you guys may not know this or remember this, but 5 years ago, everyone was rich, and everyone was going to all of the events, the meetups, the parties. It was bananas in a great way, but that's the way it was. And so someday again, we do still get to hang out with Ride or Dies and community members in real life, but usually it takes a lot more effort in a bear market. We do have Mr. CryptoCat here. It worked.
Test.
It worked. What did you do that time?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you.
It's because I'm wearing the shirt.
It's because you're wearing the shirt. It's kind of like a wild SJ when she's winning all those competitions down in El Salvador on Noob TV. And then in her interviews, like her personal interviews where she's talking about what's going on, she's wearing the Dark Matter t-shirt. And I'm like, that's why she's winning. That's her secret power.
Yeah. It's called automatic doors. You just walk right through. They open for you. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you and a bunch of hooligans have been getting together in real life and messing around with crypto, switch.fi, switchx.fi,
Correct.
Darker Matter. Do your wives know that you guys are playing with this stuff?
It's only latte money.
Latte money. That is the only way to go into
That's
crypto.
the code. Yeah.
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 Well, and I preached that for years, and I did put money that I could afford to lose in for years until it went really, really big. And then I thought, I'm never selling anything, which was the wrong move. And
time machines, right? Back to the future.
And as the dip kept dipping, I was just selling everything. I'm like, oh, no. Trust us, in 6 months, we'll be plenty rich. We do not need to make the house payment. And
what's a house payment?
I was wrong. I was so wrong. In case of some people like my brother, house payments. They're doing the real estate game, and you lose some tenants, and now you got plural house payments, right? So
yep.
That's the real estate game.
Yeah, the moral of the story is find tenants who will pay on time and will pay every month.
Here's that. We got Believe in Yourself in the chat here. Hello. How are you guys doing?
Believe in yourself.
Yeah. So let me share my my screen here, because I was going to show you what I was doing. I got a really good suggestion from Dr. Doge in our Telegram saying, hey, your logo for Darker Matter isn't anywhere on the website. Like, it should always be visible. We should always see it. And I was like, you're 100% right. So we have the AG helmet like you're wearing on your shirt right there. We have that on the home tab because that's the brand. It's really confusing. Bitcoin has Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network. And I think that's how it lasted for so long. We have Dark Matter and Darker Matter inside of the Anti-Gravity project. And we also have Fuel Cell NFTs inside of the project. So it's very confusing to be like, wait, is it an Anti-Gravity token? Is it a Dark Matter token? Is it a Dark Matter? Is it a Fuel Cell token? And so I'm trying to separate that, and I'm trying to spoon feed information with the book to people, as you can see on some of the stuff I've been throwing out on Twitter and in our group, where I want it to be visually appealing, catch someone's attention, and then try to break it down in small bite-sized increments. I think I'm failing, but I think I'm a lot closer than I used to be. So let me show you what changes we're thinking about entering the Dark Masters universe. Let me show you the changes that it's suggesting for me right here. So we'll go down there. This is the latest version right here. Let me do a hard refresh. And yeah, so what it did was I tried to put dark matter in the header, and it just doesn't work because of its shape. Even though I had the crystals kind of behind it, it didn't really work. And then it ended up putting just the crystals as, you know, little things on the side of darker matter, which I think looks really cool and adds a little bit of flair. But I thought we still need the darker matter logo on the site everywhere you go. So I've been making these bigger and bigger and bigger because they can be, and they're not really buttons. So I don't think people will be clicking on them, but you never know. I'm trying this out as branding. So let's see. Let me tell Claude. Yeah, increase the size 50%. They can be in the background behind all of the stuff in that box in the header. There we go. So now it's going to do this, and we'll come back to this preview screen. And then when we like it, we tell it to ship. And then, of course, it would go to our main screen, which is right here, darker matter. And oh, this is one of the pages that we don't really talk about. But here's the main page right here, darker matter. And now it looks kind of boring compared to that preview, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think we're in the right direction. I want to thank Dr. Doge for making that suggestion, because it is Dr. Doge has its Dr. Doge face everywhere, which is its brand, which is nice. But we have a bunch of logos and emblems, and so we got a lot going on in our universe. So as you can see, this one right here, let me switch my wallet here. I wonder if I think I'll jump into Internet Money wallet here. Ravi, as you may have noticed, I was bumping up the gas fees really high so that things would go through, and there were quite a few transactions that never left the wallet. Like Ravi would tell me that this transaction was spinning for like 20 minutes, and then I would check the network, and it's like, nah, it never made it to the RBC. So, you know, I'm biting the bullet. I'm using our friends over at Internet Money here, their wallet, and let's actually get their logo up here in the top right corner. Yeah, we want the Stream Wallet Connect. There we go. So now we have the Internet Money logo up there. I have 918 darker matter tokens inside of here that we can mint with, and I've minted 100
That's a good amount
so far. It's a good amount. Like I said, a lot of people are like, what's a whale? What's a whale? I'm like, I think 1,000 is a whale right now, because
I think a well is 1,000, but I think 10,000 is everybody's, you know, what they should strive for.
I think in this market
Yeah.
at these prices, yeah, definitely add a zero.
Yeah.
But I think if ETH Ether comes back to life and ETH starts popping and jumping, I think that 1,000 could get you some pretty nice rewards in the future. You know, especially because
Possibly.
there's this huge supply, right? There's 2.2222 million, and 1.5 million of that is in the FOMO curve that's going to be paid out to stakers. I'm sorry, minters. And the majority of that, the lion's share, is going to go to the stakers, because the stakers pull more weight from the treasury than the other people. And the great thing is that we first started this out where you would be staking and restaking and compounding your interest, and then we're like, well, why make people do any work? Like, just let it ride, you know, stake it. Once it hits that bonus, just let it ride. You know, there is one thing you cannot do with your NFT wallet staked, and that is transfer or sell it. So one reason you might end a stake is to transfer or sell it, you know. So that's one thing to be aware
Hmm,
of.
that's good.
You can transfer it before, after, and even during the jackpot drawing. AI was really worried about that because AI saw a future where the bots would find out who the winners were, and go buy those off of secondary marketplaces before the owner knew that they had won the jackpot or hit the jackpot. And I was like, that's not gonna happen. Like, no, I mean, it might, but if it does, it'd be such a strange, rare case that I don't think
Right.
it's worth coding around. We've got a bunch of really big um, pools growing right now. One of the really good frequently asked questions that we had in our Telegram from Gfire was
That's a great name.
it is a great name. So Gfire was asking what happens when I mint? Like where does it go? And the answer was, it gets split four ways. It gets split. 10% goes to the team, 5% gets sold into the eDai pool, and 40% of it goes to the 180-day pool, and 45% of it goes to the jackpot. So if we'll see those proportions play out in these places right here. And this is also from Phil, who it's good to see Phil again. I haven't seen him in a while. Phil, believe in something, trust your instincts, and don't fight. I don't know, I can't read it, but he's got quite a handle. And he was saying, how does the 180-day pool work? So my answer was, if you take one darker token, mint one fuel cell NFT, it'll take 11 days for that NFC, the fuel cell, to sync with the frequency of dark. We call these rounds. At the end of each round, each fuel cell has a 1 in 740 chance of hitting the jackpot. Once you hit the jackpot, you have the choice of sacrificing your reward between 333 and 1,332 darker, or claiming it with an 8. If you sacrifice the void, you are entered into the eDai pool, which pays out every 11 days. If you claim, the jackpot is sent to your wallet. After you've checked to see if your fuel cell has hit jackpot and claimed or sacrificed your winnings, you can now stake for 33 days or 180 days. You're given credit for patiently waiting for the sync and jackpot announcement, the 11 days. If you stake for 33 days, on day 33, your reward from the FOMO curve, treasury on steroids, increases 10x, and these accumulate inside of your NFT as long as you don't deplete it. The 10x bonus stays in effect until you end stake, at which point the fuel cell goes back to 1x. If you stake for 180 days, on day 180, this includes the 11 days of the round, your FOMO curve rewards increase to 100x, and starting at the end of the next round, you will receive 1 share per NFT in the 180-day bonus pool. Every 11 days, the 180-day bonus pool pays out 3.69% of its holdings out to all of the fuel cells that have patiently staked. It's paid to your wallet in liquid darker matter. Think of it like a micro jackpot hitting in perpetuity. Just like the 33-day stake, if you end the 180-day stake, this bonus and the 100x go away and you have to start all over. So that was, again, very long-winded, answered stuff that they didn't ask, but hopefully
Complete answer.
it is a complete answer, and there will be a place with a lot of FAQs that we're working on. There's a place where we're working on graphs, and just a lot of just nerd stuff that if the guys that
And
really
if they
like
want
to
to go
deep
in
dive.
depth, they can copy and paste into Grok or Claude.
Exactly. That's what I do. I mean, I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
There's a widget from SwitchX, right? That they said you can embed in your website or in your project. Right now, we just
Hmm.
have a link that goes over to switch.win. But he says if you
Yeah,
set up the widget and
you
people
could.
use your widget, then some of those fees come back to you.
Yes,
And
that is
so I
true.
think that would be a really
Hmm.
cool way to another stream of income to reward the community and the patient and the loyal and the diamond hands. So
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna look into that. I still need to figure that out. I'm still trying to figure out how to mint a very, very large portion of NFTs, as some of the other whales are right now. People are writing scripts so that we can take advantage of low gas fees, because if you mint during medium gas, you're looking at about um, 30 cents to $3 for 1,000, I think. And so that's quite a bit of money. It is it's worth it because everything's on blockchain. We're not doing subgraphs or other third parties to keep track of your NFT and everything, all these pieces that you get paid out. So it is all on chain. However, if you mint when the gas is high, this is not a cheap uh, NFT to mint. I mean, cheap compared to Ethereum, but not cheap compared to
Right.
Pulse. So yeah, it's definitely a commitment of Pulse to mint right now. And but then again, hopefully we can you know, the bull market will outpace the fees. So yep. And we've got
So we hope.
Fast Abdul that is here for the tech. Let me check the green room real quick and make sure. Yeah, we got there. I just keep checking back for people. We have
Yeah, it's early, so you caught me on a good time.
yeah, this is very early for me too. It's kind of nice. I've
Right.
been doing these spaces on the ride home every day. Today is my first day is doing a space. Nobody joined, but they have some really relaxing hold music while you wait for people to join. And then I got home and I was like, well, I'm just gonna stream. Hola, Journey for Christ
Yeah, I
2026. Have y'all
I had
ever?
two no coiners I was training up.
Yeah. So you were basically running a workshop today.
Yeah, I have two new people that are really interested in Darker.
Yeah, so Journey in Christ is asking if had an issue where YouTube automatically deletes your comments after 16 seconds of posting. I haven't had that. I've just had YouTube straight up delete my videos and
Right.
demonetize them and tell me they're dangerous for children and dangerous for humans. So I've done a lot of appealing recently, but thank goodness we're still rocking. Believe in Yourself says he hasn't had it happen. Depends on the host, how the host sets it. So yeah, maybe that's it. It always happens to me.
Could
It
be.
sucks.
Could be.
Yeah. Um, this is done baking right here. Are you ready to see the updated version of this preview? Let's
Big
see here.
review. The big
Control
reveal.
R. Yeah, I think that actually looks really nice. I think we can move them up and towards the center a little bit more because there is that dead space on the sides of the round identifiers. But I think
True.
that size kind of fits that box fairly well. And it's okay, like I said, if the diamonds go behind the balance, the price, and the gas fee. So that's pretty good. And by the way, dark holding at 75 cents, that's pretty amazing considering that Bitcoin and Ethereum both went to zero this morning. I mean, straight to zero. They are completely worthless. So I'm sorry if you're holding any Bitcoin or Ethereum. You now understand what it feels like to be a Pulsican. No, they jumped off a cliff. I was watching someone that I like watching, Crypto Market, Crypto Sniper, and
Uh-huh.
he's got a really good whole handle on the macro. Him and Sami. I don't know if it's their accents that make them a little bit smarter, but he did go over what he thinks is going to happen. And he thinks that Bitcoin is going to fall much further, so that people can buy it at a discount, and then maybe we'll have our pump. Or this might be the first time that Ethereum doesn't wait for its turn, and it just pumps depending on when the powerful people want that to happen. I'll
When they
just leave it at
rotate from
that.
Bitcoin into Ethereum.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. Do we want
Yeah.
more opacity? Opacity means it's more see-through, right? Or is that
Yeah.
no? Opacity means it's more solid. Opaque. Opaque means more solid, right?
I don't know. That's a
I
big
don't know
word.
either. Position. Here we go. Let's give it some love here. Let's increase the opacity to 75% and keep the size we have right now. Let's move both of them towards the middle and up a couple of lines so that the text isn't behind the gas fee, balance, and price. So fill in that dead space that we see on the sides of the round indicators. There we go. Boom. HexT is asking, have I seen what I've done? Yeah, no, let's see it. And if you are able to jump in. Oh, that was my DMs, but it might be in our Telegram as well. So anyway, yeah, we'll see what it comes up with there. Give it a second to cook. In the meantime, let's look at these totals. We've got
Yes.
21,000 fuel cells minted. Again, 40% of that's going to go to the 180-day pool. 45% is going to go to the jackpot pool, and 5% of that is being sold for EDI in the EDI pool. So let's check out those totals as well. You got the get paid. I thought that this was going to hit $700 last night. I was wrong. I think it might hit $700 today, depending on minting and depending on the bot tax. So the bot tax gets paid into here, and the 5% minting gets paid into here. Also, the royalty, which I thought I set at 3.69, but I guess it's set at 5%. The royalty on the NFTs when they sell on marketplaces like Mintra or Squirrel Swap or any of those platforms, that is going to go into this EDI converter too, and that those royalties will also increase this. Let's check out the jackpot. Jackpot is sitting on 9662.4 Darker.
Close
That's
to
pretty sweet.
10,000.
Close to 10,000. That's a lot of winners right there. I wish we should actually have it show how many winners are projected based on that 21,000 mint. So maybe we'll add that to the page here. And then of course 180-day pool, 8,588 Darker. And as I was saying, nobody is going to qualify for this until for 180 days, starting in 17 days. So 197 days until someone can qualify for this. And so I can only imagine how big this pool is going to get in the next 197 days.
A lot.
A lot. And so every 11 days, this pool takes 3.69% of its total, and it disperses that amongst all the people that have hit 180-day stake. And it's liquid, and you just hit this claim button right here. And yeah, nobody's 180-day staked yet, and they won't be staked, for 17 days, or sorry, 28 days. It'll be 28 days until you can stake and sacrifice. So yeah, thinking ahead, you always want to bump up your NFTs, because down the road you may want to do more things.
Can't stake until that clock disappears, right?
Right. And it'll show up here in fuel cell farms. For instance, if season 1 round 1 had started, I would be able to click on it, and if I had any stakes, there's a progress bar that shows you how much time every steak has left. And then once it hits its maturity,
Oh, cool.
it glows, it pulses with a glow, so you know that it is doing its that you're getting your bonus on each of those. So that'll be interesting to see and show you guys. I tried showing some of those on the streams where I was doing the beta testing, or like the 5 darkers that we did on live on mainnet. But yeah. Oh, it's connect wallet. Oh, I think I connected wallet to the preview, but the preview should be ready for us to check out. Let's check out our Vercel really quickly. Vercel, yep, that one is ready. It increased the opacity. Let's go here and let's do the refresh and see if it looks better or worse. Oh, I think that looks really well balanced. I mean, it is definitely busier than the current one, but the branding is much stronger, I think. And that placement's good. I dig it. And you can still go over here to the arrows and switch to different rounds. Here you go. You can see the 100 ghost NFTs that have not begun syncing yet. Speaking of syncing, how are you liking the book so far, and how many new things are you discovering that were not in the last version that you read?
Well,
Still
I'm just
there?
on chapter 3. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
internet keeps going in and out. Yeah.
That's okay. You don't
And
need
my
money for
plan is
internet.
to get through the book this weekend. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
That's awesome. And I loved sitting here and doing readings from it because people can ask about the 180-day steak, and I can go find that part in the book and read that part of the story. And we learn so much better through stories than from just facts and figures and data.
Right. Well, like I said, the first chapter, it talks about a jackpot that wasn't there in the first one. So that's one right away.
Check
And
that
that
out.
might be important.
Yeah, so here's Rings of Dust. I don't know why this screen is so enlarged, but we will back it up a little bit there. TTS Freddy, the Polaris. Yeah. Oh, so you're saying, like, I thought it was starting the book with the jackpot. It does talk about jackpot being on it's his nickname, right? Even though I don't think we hear anyone call him jackpot, except for when he
Yes.
launches. During the launch phase, they chant jackpot, but I just realized no one's calls him Heavy doesn't call him jackpot. Heavy keeps calling him Cole. We should definitely be referring to him a lot more in the book as Jackpot and Cole.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Sharon wouldn't call him Jackpot. She would call him Cole because they have a more intimate relationship. But like Heavy and the crew, you know, Taylor would definitely say it in a derisive way. Like, okay, Jackpot.
JC, maybe, you know, a nickname. JC,
yes.
Jackpot Cole.
Yes, I'm actually going to put that note in Claude right now. Hey, Claude, we just realized that almost no one uses the nickname Jackpot for Cole in this book. He would be calling him Jackpot often. Taylor would be calling it to him sarcastically or derisively. Emily would probably still call him Cole because she's a sister. Sharon would probably still call him Cole. But, you know, the people at the Federation and other people he runs into, they're going to call him Jackpot. So let's go through every time someone uses Cole's name and determine whether or not we should replace it with his nickname, Jackpot. There we go. And now it just goes to work and does stuff. The problem with Claude is that it tells you that it's fixed something in the book 3 different times, and then you read it on stream and you're like, this son of a bitch did not fix it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it feels like when you go get a dog and you're showing it, it's like mess on the carpet. It's like, what do we have right here? And Claude's like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why you're worse than useless.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's maddening. I did drop my Claude subscription way down um this morning after it was failing to do a lot of stuff. And now I'm going to be playing around with 11 Labs as we get the reviews back from this book from people like you, Ted Nelson, Crispy Man, Hex T. Armstrong. There's a bunch of people that are like, hey, I want to, I'll review the book again. Because they, there might be a little bit of cha-ching tokens that just magically appear for your time and effort. And you guys will be confirmed cult members by the end of this, like just by reading the canon of our cult. And there's 2 new storylines running through this book that were not in the first book either. So okay, here we go. All I got to do is add something here on my laptop for left to make a substantial difference. So why don't you take over, if you would, sir? Talk about anything you want. The book, the market, Switch X. While I do this real quick, and then I'll be right back. I mean, I'm still here. And
I'm still here.
We can use this as the backdrop. In fact, it should have actually pushed to main. So this is the main website. Let's do a hard refresh and see if, yes, we have the new update live on the website. So I'm gonna do this real quick, and then I'll be right back.
I'm gonna go for a break too, and then I'll come back.
Okay, cool. In the meantime, I'm going to play. I'm gonna play Darkness Falls because that is like a 25-minute song from our buddy AJ Rip City Hex, and it's copyright free. At least, hopefully, it's copyright free. I would not be surprised at all if I get a copyright strike from this. Nope, that's not it right there. General, I might have posted it in. Art. Yeah, maybe it's in art. Here's the one that Crispy Man wrote right here. But I believe if I go here and I look up, I search for Darkness Falls, we'll see if it pops up here. And this was the winner of J5, which is where we got that insanely cool graphic of the dark literally changing into a fuel cell of a sort. It's pretty dang cool. Let's see here. Darkness Falls right here. Zephyr. I see a bunch of people here, but I'm not seeing Rip City Cuts. Darkness Falls. Huh. I know how I can find it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to search for AJ. I'm sure he just DM'd it to me. Or maybe I'll just look up Rip City Cuts. Rip City. Oh, there it was. There it is. Rip City Pulse. Here's some of his other stuff he's been making. I think this is Darkness Falls right here. Could be. Maybe it's not. Here's one right here. I'll play this one right here. It's 4 minutes, so that'll give me time. And it just ended, so we're gonna play it again. we're not going to play it again because I just realized that because I have a guest on here, I have actually not shared the audio with you guys with you guys. So I actually have to go back here and share, and then I have to reshare so that I can add the audio, or you guys will just see some pretty cool graphics, but that'll be about it. So I'll share that one. There we go. Now you guys should be able to hear it, and I will jump. I'll be right back.
Dark matter calling in the still of the night. Frequencies, fire, fuel cells ignite. Dark token shimmers, stars beyond flicker. The address which holds the evil unfolds. Strengthened arms not quivering. Evil never minting its whore. Down this dark and dreary road, jackpots found their simmering. Hit the button, claim its share. Gravity hover in the cosmic air. Fuel cells burn. Brightness lights the race. Dark matter tempts this risky embrace. You've run deep in this sequential daydream. Vaporize, hold an enticing hero's fight. Which will it be? Mystified in these crypto frequencies. This lottery spin, phase by phase. Evil address real in half the days. Winning mounds of unscraped sits. A dormant prize in this cosmic pit. Minting windows, chance takes flight. Fuel cells bloom through the coded night. Burn it, keep it, your mind is such a mess. How long can this go on? Fuel cells burn, brightness lights the race. Dark matter tempts this risky embrace. Gills run deep in this sequential daydream. Vaporize, hold an enticing hero's fight. Which will it be? Mystified in these crypto frequencies. Scrape button glows, this chance to seize the loot. Evil stash rolls to the next group. Bigger pots, the winners rise. Higher stakes light up the skies. 33 phases, the finite journey's arc. Pulse chain thrives through the endless dark. Holder's choice, the stars align. Anti-gravity's ours, by this the grand design. Fuel cells burn, brightness lights the race. Dark matter tempts this risky embrace. Years run deep in this sequential daydream. Vaporize, hold an enticing hero's fight. Which will it be? Mystified in these crypto frequencies.
There you go. That was the art, the art submission that won Journey 5 of the original Dark Matter. It's bananas. Let's see if we can grab something else here from him. Yeah, that's this one right there. Here's the GIF right here that ended up being used for the fuel cell, and it's on our on our website still. Let's go back here to submissions for art. We have some other videos in here. So there's 48 videos in here. Some of them with copyright music from Zephyr Trips, or you know, from who's the other ones putting some of these together. Let's go with this one right here. This is a 9-second clip of some dark matter crystal being formed inside of a laboratory. That's pretty awesome. Wow. That's awesome. And then this is going to be a longer song too, Anti-Gravity. This is another one that was submitted by, I think this is Pulsewave Vibes. I could be wrong, but we're going to zoom in on this, and it kind of sounds like, the beginning sounds a little bit like Interstellar, but then it kind of kicks on to a pump of music. So let's do that.
Drifting through the cosmic tide, chasing light where shadows hide. Minted dreams in a world so vast, one by one they're built to last. Zero gravity, we take flight, rings of dust in neon light. Through the void we claim our fate, no escape, it's far too late. Oh, we rise, we shine, dancing through the hands of time. With the dark we redefine, in the stars we leave our sign. Every token, every trade carves the path that we have made. Scarcity fuels the fire bright, burning through the endless night. Zero gravity, we take flight, rings of dust in neon light. Through the void we claim our fate, no escape, it's far too late. Oh, we rise, we shine, dancing through the hands of time. With the dark we redefine, in the stars we leave our sign. The evil address calls our name, playing the infinite crypto game. Phase by phase we stake our claim, nothing in this world's the same. Welcome to the revolution, code and art, a new solution. Beyond the chains, we're breaking free, anti-gravity, eternally.
It is absolutely insane, the universe that you guys have put together to help us. AI fingers, never enough. But beautiful. A bunch of these are from Hexaglen. See here. Yeah, just insane amounts of creativity and stuff with the pink mist well, fuel cells, the anti-gravity. I mean, it's bananas. Of course, this is that first NFT right here. I think we're probably going to take this and we might have to rebrand it to Darker Matter, but I think that would be a fitting NFT right there. One's gonna hit our copyright.
Yes. I'm talking AGP, anti-gravity project. I respect staying true to the tech. We got the evil address and the pink mist wheel. Got the dark matter token going up. I can tell. Hey, I can tell this is the start of something fresh. Shout out Hex Revision and Donna Hex. Yes. I confess, Hexicans don't stress, cause as a community we want up. So tell me, are you in, or tell me, are you out? Do you want to win, or do you chase the clout? What is this really about? The treasury and lottery. If you meant dark tokens, you can get a part of it. So how does it work? Let me explain. First you buy the dark token, now you're in the game. Then you mint the dark and get a fuel cell. That's an NFT, one that earns yield. As long as you have it, it feels like magic. But if you vaporize the NFT, that's tragic. So most think crypto is a game. Are you here for the fame or here to make a name? See, Hexicans reign, we create our own lane. I thought I told you, we the new financial gain. AGproject.io with the flow. And if you know what I know, then you know what I know. That's just how it go. Something like to support the team, the dream. Public service announcement, t.me/anti-gravity saga. Hit the telegram. Tap in. It's for y'all. I'm talking AGP, anti-gravity project. I respect staying true to the tech. We got the evil address and the pink mist wheel. Got the dark matter token going up. I can tell.
Bananas. Let's see here. There's Pink Mist Well. This is actually a poem by CryptoCat himself about the Pink Mist Well. Are you back from your break? I'll read it to you guys in just 1 second. A pink mist well, a creature of the deep, where shadows dance and secrets softly sleep. A benevolent keeper, wise and old, of dark matter's heart, a story to unfold. Through swirling nebula, a gentle grace, it guides lost souls with a knowing, tender face. Its scales of rose, a shimmering display, reflecting starlight in the darkest way. With fins of pearl, it navigates the void. Oh, that's crazy. We have the void back there, where cosmic dust and silent currents glide. Its song, a hum, a lullaby so low, whispers of solace, where the shadows softly flow. Oh. There we go. The dark matters whispers secrets in its hold. By this gentle guardian, stories to be told. A universe of wonders vast and grand, protected by the pink mist well's soft hand. It watches over galaxies both near and far, a beacon of hope dispelling every scar. A cosmic shepherd in the sky, night in the inky night, the pink mist well, a radiant, wondrous sight. Its presence calms the chaos, stills the storm, a symphony of peace, a whispered form. A gentle giant in the void so vast, the pink mist well, a keeper built to last. Yeah, I mean, like, poetry. I don't know many, if any, projects that have a poet laureate like we do here. It's bananas. Let me see if there's anyone else in the green room. No, it looks like CryptoCat fell out. He's not even here. I was waiting for him to come back and talk. But while we're waiting, I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to start playing something from the book here. Nope. There we go. Yeah, here's the first one right here. I think we want to read this part right here that's new. Maybe it's moved now. All right, let's try this. Let's go to Rings of Dust TTS ready. What's a new one that you guys probably have not heard? Launch an ambush. There's some of that right there. I think there's part of this one right here that has a little teaser of Jill and the colony. I'm trying to find some stuff that you guys might like about sacrificing to the void. Let's talk more a little bit about, see, there's the colony at 7. I think there's something here in the cabin. But let's listen to Ray's discovery right here. So we'll copy this, we'll paste it in the notebook. Boom. 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 There we go. And then we'll go over to Microsoft Edge, which is something that nobody ever uses. Kidding. And we will do Control O for open. We'll open this new file, open, and then we will just listen to chapter 6 while I'm working on this over here.
Chapter 6 Ray's discovery. Ray worked at Alpha's Materials Research Division for 3 years before he understood what they were actually working on. The official designation was dark matter stabilization. The actual designation, which nobody used in writing, was they had something they couldn't explain and were trying to make it useful before someone else did. The something was Dark X. It arrived at the facility in sealed magnetic containers, 2 kilograms at a time, from a processing site that wasn't on any map Ray had been shown. It was black-gray, granular, slightly iridescent in direct light. It behaved like no material he'd worked with. It responded to magnetic field variations the way iron shavings respond to a magnet, except the responses were unpredictable, and the field gradients required were precise to a degree that made the testing equipment protest. Alpha wanted it stable. Dark X in its raw form held together for 11 days. After that it degraded, not catastrophically, just gradually losing its structure, reverting to something that tested as a complex carbon compound with anomalous isotopic ratios. 11 days was the window. Alpha had been trying for 4 years to extend it. Ray's job was the stabilization matrix. He ran the salts, the additives, the magnetic curing protocols. He ran them carefully, methodically, the way he'd been trained. He documented everything. He ate lunch at his desk. He was, as his supervisor noted in his last review, thorough. He was also, by the time the Polaris disaster cleared the news cycle, bored. The crisis had begun not with a failure of technology but with a coordinated financial assault. The global banking system had moved against cryptocurrency, specifically against the miners and nodes that had been building a decentralized energy grid outside institutional control. Regulatory pressure, liquidity freezes, infrastructure seizures, power plant shutdowns, and power grid defunding that official channels called decommissioning. The grid had collapsed along fault lines that had been prepared in advance. What the Federation called an energy shortage, the people who had built the alternative grid called an execution. The Polaris had not made it better. 369 people and 1 research vessel, the only large-scale non-corporate Dark X extraction attempt in Federation history. What remained was a narrative. That DarkX was volatile, that its handling required institutional oversight, that Alpha Corp's measured approach was the only responsible path forward. The narrative had served the people who needed it to. His colleagues called him Ray. It had started as a joke. His full name was Max Vision, and somewhere along the way someone had said Max Ray Vision because it sounded like X-ray vision, and the middle part stuck. He had never corrected it. He liked the way it sounded more than he liked the way Max sounded. He took a sample home on a Tuesday. This was not authorized. It was also not, in his assessment, particularly dangerous. The container was sealed, the quantity was small, 30 grams. And he had a specific idea he wanted to test that required more time than the lab schedule allowed. He put the container in his bag between his lunchbox and his headphones, walked through security, and went home. His apartment ran on a residential fuel cell array. Most did. The cells were stacked in a utility closet off the kitchen, 4 of them standard civilian grade, the kind that got replaced every 3 years whether they needed it or not. He set the container on the kitchen table. He made coffee. He opened his laptop. The container was labeled with a red stripe and a lot of numbers. He'd labeled it himself that morning. He left it on the table overnight. In the morning, he felt it before he could name it. Not sound. Not heat, exactly, something closer to the sensation of a radio scanning through static, searching for a frequency just out of range. A low resonance below the threshold of hearing, the feeling of a node reaching toward a network that wasn't quite in phase yet. He had been asleep. It woke him. He lay still for a moment, identifying it the way you identify something you've never felt before but somehow recognize, then got up. The container on the table was warm. He picked it up, warmer than the room, warmer than it should have been. But the warmth wasn't the signal. He opened the utility closet. The fuel cell array's status panel, which he had never looked at in 3 years of living there because it never changed, was reading a charge level he'd never seen on a residential unit. Not a malfunction, not an error, a charge level, the kind that residential fuel cells did not achieve. He stood in the kitchen and listened to the resonance, which was still there, the DarkX in the container and the fuel cells in the closet doing something together at a frequency he could feel in his sternum and couldn't hear with his ears. 11 days later, the feeling stopped. The panel read steady. The cells were quiet. Something had completed. He understood this later, the 11-day sync period, the time a newly assembled fuel cell required to align its internal architecture to the DarkX frequency before it could output power. He had felt the process happen in a kitchen in the middle of the night, without instruments, without authorization, without any preparation except having been bored enough to take something home. He got a notepad and started writing down what he was going to need. He worked for 33 days. He didn't call it that at the time, 33 days, but that was what it was. He ordered equipment through his personal accounts in small enough quantities that none of the invoices looked like a materials research project. He locked the fuel cells together. He documented the result. He ran it again. He verified the charge levels. He charted the crystal growth on the inside of the cell casings, thin at first, then accelerating unmistakably the same isotopic signature as the DarkX he'd started with, and growing at a rate 10 times faster than any unlocked cell produced. The fuel cell was producing new dark matter. Not outside, inside. The crystals were growing in the locked space between the cells, accumulating in the dark interior of the casing at a rate that had no precedent in any stabilization model he'd ever run. Not a lot, not quickly, but 10 times faster than it should have been at a rate that, if it held, would compound. On the 11th day of the lock, he found something he hadn't been looking for. One cell, just one, out of the small array he'd assembled, had grown crystals on the outside of the casing. Not inside where the accumulation was happening. Outside, on the base. A thin, unmistakable deposit where there should have been nothing. He stared at it for a long time. He checked the other cells. Nothing. Just the one. Jackpot, he said to the empty apartment, and then felt the dread move in behind the word and fill all the space the triumph had just vacated. He sat with the chart until the numbers stopped moving. Then he went into the lab the next morning and told his supervisor he needed time on the main test bed. The conference room was windowless and overlit, the flat fluorescent kind that made everyone look like they hadn't slept. The table was long, the coffee untouched, The air recycled to the point where it tasted like nothing at all. He walked them through it in the order he'd discovered it. The 11-day sink. The 33-day lock, the point where the internal crystal growth jumped to 10 times the unlocked rate and held there. The charge output. The darker matter accumulating inside the locked casings. He had photographs. He had numbers. He showed them the numbers in the clear, careful way he'd always showed them things, the same way he'd presented 3 years of stabilization data, and watched their faces. His supervisor's face did something that was not surprise. The man next to his supervisor, introduced as a representative from Alpha's executive division, whose name Ray did not catch, had no expression at all, which was its own kind of expression. "Where did you run the initial test?" his supervisor asked. Ray told him. The room went quiet in a specific way. He was fired that afternoon. Not for taking the sample was not mentioned. He was fired for, as the paperwork stated, a failure to adhere to research protocols and the unauthorized dissemination of proprietary findings. He was told, in language that was careful without being explicit, that the research he had conducted was the property of Alpha Corporation and that any further discussion of his findings, internally, externally, in any medium, would be treated as a breach of his existing non-disclosure agreement and prosecuted accordingly. He was escorted to his desk and given a box. He walked home. He was still carrying the box when Red and Squirrel knocked on his door. Meridian V. Emily in the CR 3 days after the farm road. Emily's signal moving east had a particular quality in the trace. A slight Doppler-adjacent skew. Kate had learned to feel for the way you feel for a key in your pocket. Emily was driving fast. "She's moving," Kate said. Deo was eating an uninspired sandwich and did not look up. "East. East." Indio fuel stop. Continuing. The field authorization shadow confirmed she's aware of it. She identified Sami herself. Peter looked up. She identified a surveillance tail herself? She's not trained. She pulled over. Asked him directly. A beat. "That's actually the correct move," Peter said slowly. "Yes. Most people don't." "No," Kate said. "They don't." Loa was writing something on her forearm in marker. This was a habit she had when she was processing something. The marker smelled like cheap solvent, the faint, chemical bite of it carrying across the station. Kate had started to associate that smell with the moments before Loa said something important. She had not mentioned this to Loa. "Are we pulling for Emily Nova?" Peter said. He meant it as a genuine question, which told Kate he still hadn't quite learned to distinguish between the operations the collective ran and the people at the center of them. Sharon T's last confirmed communication was to Emily Nova's relay, Deo said. He'd finished the sandwich. He stared at the wrapper. "She told us Emily was better than the situation required of her. Sharon had been in the field for 4 years. She'd run with people we trusted completely." He folded the wrapper. "If that was Sharon's assessment, it's our assessment. We're pulling for Emily Nova," Kate confirmed. Peter nodded. He wrote something small on the edge of his NAV panel, the same private script Loa used on her forearm. Kate didn't read it. Some things were for the person writing them. Meridian 8, Panama, and the drive on the Daymax. Ray Vision walked out of Alpha's Panama Tower with a drive in his coat and 6 blocks between him and the park. Kate was running a signal sweep and eating a very good blood orange someone had included in the last supply rotation, and she was genuinely happy for about 4 minutes. The blood orange was from the supply rotation. Someone on the logistics side had started including small things, blood oranges once, a very small jar of decent coffee, a bar of chocolate that arrived broken into 4 pieces and was rationed accordingly. Kate did not know who made these decisions. She had never asked. This was unusual enough that she mentioned it to Loa. "Ray just walked out," she said. "Already. Drive in hand." Nitrogen alarm gave him the window. 6 blocks. Loa closed her eyes briefly. "He's good. He's good." Kate bit into the orange. "Squirrel has the drive." "What's on it?" "Flywheel analysis, the full Protocol 11 archive, the grant fraud records going back 7 years. A pause. "Also, he named it the Anti-Gravity Project." "That's a good name," Loa said. "It's a great name." Peter, who had been listening, "What does the flywheel mean for?" It means, Kate said, that the shortage ends. Not eventually. As soon as the math gets out. The compound works in your favor if you have enough of it. Alpha knew this. They sat on it for 9 months. She finished the orange. The energy crisis has been an inventory decision. Peter was quiet. His hand went to his droplet. Is that why? He started, then stopped. Probably, Kate said. She didn't know his specific reason for being here. She had never asked. That was how the network worked. You didn't arrive at someone else's reason, you arrived at your own, and then discovered you were in a room with other people who had done the same. Probably your reason and the flywheel are connected somewhere upstream. Same week, Lois said quietly. Kate looked up. Ray is out. Emily is moving east. Same week. She gestured at her panel. The network moves all at once or it doesn't move. It's moving, Kate said. On the wall, the droplet. Gunmetal on gray. Sharon's. Ray's apartment had gotten smaller since the firing. The oak table, scarred from years of restless nights, held the fuel cell under a blanket and not much else. The place smelled like cold coffee and the ramen packets he'd been living on since the firing. The foil wrappers stacked in a neat pile next to the sink because he was the kind of man who let his laundry climb the bedroom chair for a week but couldn't stand trash on the counter. A single light hung overhead. The faint hum of the lamp was the only sound. In front of him, the stolen fuel cell gleamed dully under the light. He stared at it, half expecting it to give him answers. The thought of selling it tugged at him. The black market would pay a good price. But the longer he looked at it, the more something twisted in his gut. The same thing that had twisted when he'd first seen the charge readout, the thing he had been trying for 3 weeks to kill and couldn't. He hadn't realized how small his apartment had become until the two people stepped inside. Squirrel crossed the threshold first, his heavy boots thudding against the worn hardwood floor. Red followed, her gaze sweeping across the space with a quiet intensity that made Ray's skin prickle. They were not the kind of people who fidgeted. They moved through the room and stopped and waited, and the quality of their waiting was very different from the waiting of civilians. They didn't sit. They didn't move toward the couch half covered in old blankets. Instead, they positioned themselves near the table, not threatening exactly, but settled in the way of people who intend to conclude this conversation before leaving. Squirrel didn't waste words. We have a window of about 72 hours before Alpha sends someone who isn't going to knock. You're already on a list, Ray. You've been on it since the night you told your department head. Ray looked at them. You people have been watching me. We've been keeping you alive, Red said. There's a difference. Not from where I'm sitting. I understand that. She pulled out a chair and sat down across from him. Unhurried, like she was prepared to be here a while. What you found in that locker didn't stop being important because they took it from you. Alpha knows the discovery exists. They know you made it. And they have built a significant amount of their current business model on the fact that the rest of the world does not know what you know. Ray's hand moved toward the blanket on the table, then stopped. He looked at Squirrel. What do you actually want from me? We want you alive and working, Squirrel said. We have a place for you to hide and a new identity to protect you. And in exchange, you keep doing what you were doing. The research doesn't stop. It just stops belonging to people who bury it. Ray was quiet. Outside the window, a car passed and did not slow down, and its headlights swept the ceiling of his apartment. He had been watching headlights for 3 weeks, logging which ones slowed down. You understand what the cell actually did, Red said. It was not a question. Alpha thinks they understand it. They're harvesting the output, the crystals, the yield, the energy the conversion cycle produces. They built their whole operation around the output. She leaned forward. They never figured out what they're actually dealing with. They only ever saw it as a container. They saw what they expected to see, Ray said in spite of himself. Yes. He looked at the cell under the blanket. I packed the crystals in there because it was convenient. The negative pressure, the nitrogen atmosphere, I thought it was just a stable environment. I wasn't trying to trigger a reaction. I was trying to avoid paperwork. And that's exactly why they can't reproduce it, Squirrel said. Alpha's standard containment runs nitrogen. Open cycle, nitrogen atmosphere, no seal modification. Every lab in the program. Every researcher who ever handled darker matter crystals ran the same protocol. He looked at Red, then back at Ray. Nobody sealed a cell under negative pressure. It wasn't in any protocol. I added it as a shortcut, Ray said. You added it because you were trying to avoid a walk across campus. That single variable, the seal, is why they've been failing for 2 years trying to reproduce what you found in a locker on a Tuesday. Ray pulled the blanket away from the fuel cell. He hadn't meant to do it. His hands made the decision before his head caught up. The cell sat on the table, dull and inert in the lamplight. I know how the cells work at 11 days, he said. That's the window Alpha operates on. They found the yield threshold and they've been farming it ever since. Harvest, reset, repeat. He reached into the drawer and pulled out a battered notebook. Several pages were covered in diagrams, heat maps, rough models of accumulation behavior. What I don't know is what happens if you don't reset. Red looked at the notebook. You think longer cycles change the math. I think they change everything. Ray's voice had changed. He was not frightened anymore. He was precise, and precision was, for him, a kind of territory. I've run the calculations a dozen times. I keep getting results that don't make sense under any model I can test here. What I need, he stopped. He had spent 3 weeks trying to say this clearly and still couldn't quite get there. I need proper instruments, a controlled environment. I need to test this under conditions I cannot replicate in an apartment. He tapped the notebook. Alpha built their entire operation on 11 days because that's where they found the yield window. They never asked what would happen at 30 days. Or 60. Or longer. He looked at the fuel cell. They saw a harvest. I think they missed the actual discovery. Squirrel looked at him. What are the odds? A statement, not a question. On any given 11-day cycle. What does your math say? Ray looked at the notebook. I know what the cell does in isolation. Negative pressure, vapor vortex, 11-day cycle, charges itself. That's what I showed Alpha, and that's what got me fired. He looked at the fuel cell under the blanket. What I don't know is what happens when you scale it. What happens when you run hundreds of cells together. What happens at 33 days, or 60, or longer. He paused. I think Alpha knows. I think they've been running those numbers for years and burying the results. But I can't prove it from out here. Squirrel looked at Red. Something passed between them, not surprise. Recognition. The kind of look two people exchange when the person across the table has just described exactly the gap they've been trying to fill. That's why we're sending you inside, Squirrel said. Red pulled a card from her pocket and set it on the table. Plain, no logo, a handwritten address. Tonight. Flight out. New name. New country. Tonight. The window closes tomorrow morning. Ray picked up the card. He set it back down. He picked it up again and held it. He looked at the fuel cell for the last time in his apartment. He put his notebook on top of it carefully, like he was tucking something in. 72 hours, he said. Less now. He stood up. He went to his closet and pulled out a bag from the top shelf and stood holding it for a moment. Then he started packing. He was not fast about it, and he was not slow. He was precise. He took the notebook. He took the fuel cell, wrapped in the blanket. He left the loan statements on the counter. At the door, he turned back and looked at the apartment once. The lamp still burning, the oak table still scarred, the lamp's flicker still going. Then he followed them out into the dark. The flight was 3 hours and 40 minutes. Ray slept through one of them, not by choice but because his body had been making decisions without him since the apartment. He woke to descent. The seatbelt light. The PA announcing something in Spanish, then English, then Spanish again, as if the English had been a courtesy they'd already moved on from. He did not have luggage. He had a backpack Red had handed him in the car, already packed, his name not on it, things inside he did not remember owning. A change of clothes. A toothbrush, still in its packaging. A paperback in a language he couldn't read. He hadn't opened it. He came through arrivals into the main hall of Tocumen International Airport and stood still long enough that the people behind him had to move around him, which they did without comment, having seen that before. The heat hit him outside. Not gradual, immediate, physical, the air swapping itself for something thicker. It was 9 in the morning and already hotter than he'd lived in. He was wearing a jacket. He took the jacket off. He stood with the jacket over his arm and looked at the street in front of the terminal. Taxis, vans, a man with a handcart full of something green, someone's grandmother in a lawn chair conducting business of some kind. At the end of the pickup zone, a line of pedicabs. Three-wheeled, fringed awnings, drivers who had the patient stillness of people who know how to wait and have been doing it. He had an address on a piece of paper. Red had written it in block letters. Calle 50. Circa Dela Cresta. Below it, ask for Lucia. Below that, don't take a cab. Pedicab driver made eye contact. Ray held the eye contact too long, which was apparently sufficient. You go? The driver said. Ray showed him the paper. The driver glanced at it, nodded once, gestured at the seat with the efficiency of someone who had done this thousands of times and found no reason to expand it. Ray sat. The driver mounted the front and started pedaling. They entered traffic. Traffic in Panama City operated on principles Ray did not have access to. There were lanes, but the lanes were advisory. Signals existed but were in negotiation with everything else. There was a sound system, horn, counterhorn, acknowledgement horn, horn of general principle, that carried specific meaning to everyone who spoke it. He did not speak it. The driver did not seem concerned. He cut between a bus and a delivery truck at a gap Ray would not have called a gap. Banked hard left on a street that appeared to be going right, threaded a roundabout by logic Ray couldn't identify, and came out onto a boulevard lined with glass towers that threw the morning back at everything beneath them. The city was big. This was the thing he hadn't expected, that it would be this operational, this indifferent to his arrival. He had not thought about Panama as a place. It had been a word on a piece of paper for 2 days. Now it was a city going about its morning in heat he hadn't lived in and languages he didn't speak, and at a pace the pedicab was matching without effort. A bus pulled alongside and blew its horn for reasons that weren't apparent. He grabbed the side rail. The driver looked back. It's okay, he said. Bus always does. They turned off the boulevard into streets that were narrower and lower, the buildings closer together, the sound differently textured. Generators, music through open windows, a saw running somewhere up a side street. A woman leaned from a second-floor window and called something down to someone Ray couldn't see. A dog crossed the road with the authority of something that had done it many times and trusted cars to have figured it out by now. The pedicab slowed on a block of storefronts. A pharmacy, a tienda, something selling fabric, something selling something he couldn't identify, and stopped in front of a door painted green. Not recently green. The green of something that had been green long enough to mean it. Calle 50, the driver said. Near La Cresta. This one. Ray got out. He gave the driver the money Red had put in his jacket pocket. He didn't know how much, he just gave him all of it. The driver looked at it, gave some back, and pedaled away. Ray stood in front of the green door. He was going to knock on it and ask for Lucia. He was going to do that in a moment. He was standing here first because this was the first time since the apartment that he'd been somewhere without someone telling him where to be, and he needed to use it. He thought about the fuel cell on his table, about the number, about the look on their faces when he'd shown Alpha what he'd found, the moment they understood what it meant for them, and the speed with which they decided to bury it and bury him with it. He thought about Red and Squirrel in his apartment doorway at 6 in the morning, with the car already running. He was in Panama. He was alive. He was standing in front of a green door in a city he'd never been to, holding nothing that belonged to him, about to knock and ask for a woman named Lucia. He knocked.
All right, so there's a bunch of stuff going on there, from Ray figuring out how the fuel cells work, getting kicked out, fired, and threatened to be killed by Alpha, and then it going on from there. I am going to turn my attention towards some stuff right here on the website. I hope you guys are enjoying this, and like I said, jump into our Telegram, ask any questions that you have, and we'll just keep killing it. All right. Thanks, Space Cult. I love y'all. Let's catch you next one. Ciao.